Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Stop! Please! You're killing the air drums. My gosh, past me. You really suck. Okay, so before that gets in English, so I just want to say this is also the last time I'll be able to record for a while because I have to take down my recording equipment and give back some of the stuff I'm borrowing, and it really makes me sad. I don't know if I'm going to make it. Anyways, I'm just going to continue on with the original intro. BRB. Is my microphone working? Do I need to... Here, let me adjust it so it's a little more comfortable to talk. I'm on my knees right now because I actually don't have a chair. I do. It's on the other side of my room with crap on it. I don't want to move it. I got crap all over my room. It's a mess. I'm packing for college, going to be an aerospace engineer. Pretty exciting. I apologize, Hayden. I wanted to get this out a lot sooner, but it's English, you know. It's just been really hard with everything going on, but I just wanted to say apologize, and I just want to get this out because it really was one of the best episodes I've done out of the 9 or 10 that I've done, and I really appreciate it. I'm sorry for anyone listening or watching that Discord was so mean and bad to us, but this is going to probably be the last aired episode. It's not even aired, it's unprivate, but I guess it could be aired if you guys shared enough. Episode of Geeky Yachty Podcast. I might bring it back after I get college or during college, actually. Just kind of depends on how much time I have, but for now, for a while at least, this is going to be the last episode. This is actually the 9th episode that I've done, but I've only released, I think, 4. So anyways, back to the podcast. It's going to be completely unedited. I just don't have the time to edit it, and it's just not much to edit besides Discord breakups. We're just gonna have to deal with it. There's gonna be a little bit of language. It's very mild. You'll live. Originally, I was going to edit all of that out because it was going to be family-friendly podcast, but now PG-13. Grow up. You're big boys and girls. You can do it. It's fine. Plus, I just don't have the time. I don't want to deal with it because I'm lazy. Alrighty, so just wanted to say thank you again, Hayden, for coming on and talking about Kuni No Senso and music and a bunch of other crap. So, this is interview with Hayden Roberts. Totally 100% not anything else. You should totally not 100% watch to the end. That's a lie. You totally need to. And with all of that out of the way, please enjoy. And today we have a great special guest. He's a young, aspiring director? Director, would that be a good term?
Yeah, that would be the correct term, but I'm more of a composer personally.
Okay, so
I just happened to come up with this project.
Okay, so he wants to be a composer, but he's dabbling with his magical dabbling fingers into directing. Hayden, Mr. Hayden of everything. Welcome to the podcast.
Is this gonna be my intro here?
Yeah, sure. It's a little choppy. We can just redo it here and just welcome to the podcast, Hayden of everything.
Yeah, okay. How's it doing, guys? Hayden of everything here, but you could just call me Hayden. You don't need the of everything. That's just a moniker.
Tasty. All right, so I guess the biggest reason I wanted you on the podcast was just to talk about what made you want to do this project and like where it began, like, you know, it kind of got from how it first started to where we're at now with a whole Discord full of people, full of talent that is willing to just give their time without pay to make this a thing. So,
well, I started planning Kuni No Senso, I believe, in 2016 or something. That's when I first got the idea. Back then, I translated it to Toshi no Senso, but that doesn't sound as cool as Kuni no Senso.
So, is there a reason? Like, does Kuni no Senso mean anything, or is it just sound cool?
Yeah, it's Japanese for War of the Countries.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I haven't taken Japanese yet. I'm taking that this year, actually. Yeah.
I actually just put it in Google Translate. I'm gonna be honest. But the thing is, back when it was called Toshi no Senso, there were some different things that are very, very different from the final project that is being written right now.
So, like,
And
what major changes have there been? Because I know War of the Countries is basically what it is. Because I'm not going to say a whole lot because don't want to give too much out. But what was there a different plan for it, or was it just?
Yeah, there was certainly a different plan. I originally planned that it would be a 5-season long anime series.
Oh my gosh!
But then I realized that I couldn't write long enough of a story to keep the audience entertained, and I didn't want to cram the entire series with filler. So it ended up being chopped down to an extremely small 10 episodes and maybe some OVAs.
So you didn't want to turn into a Sword Art, is what was you wanted to avoid the whole Sword Art season 2.
No, I wanted
incident.
to avoid too much filler content because the original outline I had for the series was that it would start with the episode 1 being almost exactly the same, except there were some notable differences. For example, Yukon's killer is unknown, and the Alpha Blade, originally called the Checkered Sword, as a reference to the original design I had on the sword, would be the only clue to the identity of Yukon's killer. And it wasn't going to be revealed until like near the end of the series, maybe the last 2 or 3 episodes that Kunshu, who was at the time called Rura Mujahina, once again Google Translate, and it wasn't going to be revealed until the last 3 episodes maybe that Kunshu was the one who killed Yukon's family. And there were lots of aspects that also were changed, but I won't go too in depth because they might end up being a bit spoilery in a way, because there are many changes that involving important plot points that if I actually discuss this on the podcast, then that would be a huge spoiler for a series that isn't even done yet.
Yeah,
that
it's
would
still
be breaking my own rule on leaks.
It's so huge. We have so much left to do, but it's getting done right though. It's getting done slowly. I will admit, like I know I'm falling a little bit behind, but the fact that we're actually still working on it is still moving along, and the fact that the quality and the talent that we have behind it is impressive because we have a pretty young it seems like we have a lot more young I guess not employed, like how would you put them, like people working on it? A lot of people working on it, like, contributors are pretty young, but they're surprisingly really talented. Like we have Kate, who's writing, her script writing I think is phenomenal, and then all the other writers and editors going in through making sure it's all sounding right and adding their pieces in, and then we have just the other composers, and we even have other voice actors that give their inputs in for what they've seen. It's just pretty cool. And
the only thing is we don't have anybody cast yet. I have the casting call still up. You can go to Casting Call Club, and I would put the entire link or say the entire link, but good luck remembering it.
Yeah,
but
you just have to search Kuni No Senso.
Yeah, you can just look Kuni No Senso up, and then you'll probably find both of the casting calls, because we have one for episodes 1, 2, and 3, and then one for 4 through 5. Because we managed to get the script done really quickly.
Yeah, she flew through those.
Yeah, she burns through the script outlines.
She's already working on 6 already, right? Yeah, she's
already working on episode 6.
Gosh darn.
At the moment.
Yeah, I'm like I just finished 4, and I'm halfway through scene edit 1. But
yeah, he's the one responsible for doing the scene edits to where animation is much smoother.
Yeah.
And I actually have it to where I have a to-do list in the archives as well.
I saw that, but I never touched that. I'm just like, I know what I got to do.
So the thing is, whenever I work on a series, or at least my experience with Kuni no Senso is that my main ideas is a 4-phase outline for the production of each episode. There's the preparation, the casting, production, and distribution. And casting is only done if the roles that appear in that episode are new roles and haven't been cast yet
Yeah.
to any actor. But for phase one, that includes me writing the script outline, which is something I'll get back to later.
Well, is it not?
And then
Is the script outline? Not, the script outline, not the whole story outline. The script outlines. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
the
Yeah,
script outline.
you're up to
Yeah, so
8, right?
No, I finished the entire thing.
Oh, you're done with the script outlines?
Yeah,
Oh,
I finished them
dang.
a while ago. But anyway,
Oh, my bad.
so I have the script outline, and then the writing of the episode, and then the scene edit, which I just recently realized is something we could do to improve the scripts for general contributors, and also completing the final designs for the episodes. The casting phase is where it gets really interesting. I post a casting call, and on that casting call, people are able to audition for different roles. And on the casting calls, like for example, there's casting calls for the characters, like there's one for almost any character, and even some characters that are basically extras. Heck, there's a casting call for a character literally called Rando, as in random guy.
I saw there's also one for like the guard that has one line. You know, so there's like
I gave him like one line on the casting call, even though he does have more than one line in the episode, but he really only appears in that one episode. And I put down on the description, being a messenger.
appears in one. You actually put in pair. I can't speak. Appears in one episode. I remember reading that. I was like, oh, okay, that's okay. But it's pretty cool because it gives the chance for the people that can't either have the time or don't have the necessary skills to be a main character to still possibly be part of the production. Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, yes they do. That is exactly how this world works, I think, hopefully. Probably not, but whatever. Yeah. That's the term I use around here anyways.
And another thing is, when I was listening to the casting calls, I actually have a list of people who would probably work really, really well with certain roles. Or like people who posted auditions, and I listened to those auditions and thought, that might be the one. And sometimes I do end up finding that there is kind of a battle between two different roles.
And that's a hard one because it's... So, do you find it more often that it's a battle between two different versions of the character, or two different, like, of the same character, like, you know what I'm saying, like how they act and how they sound, like two different like versions, or is it two different of the same, but one slightly better in this one and one slightly better in this way?
It's more something along the lines of two different deliveries, and then the possible ways those deliveries could be interpreted. Like, for example, for one role, I have one to where the person kind of goes through the lines really quickly, but he has the right tone. And then the other one, it has a somewhat deep tone that seems, while it's closer to my voice and the way I might hear it in my head, it's not really the one I would pin down as being the voice. Yet his delivery of the lines is perfectly paced.
Yeah, see, I feel like stuff like that would be very, very hard to be the head, like what you are right now, the head director, choosing between those two, figuring out which one's going to work the best, because overall, it's the final production that you have to keep in mind.
Because, yeah, that is definitely the main thing that we're looking out for.
And English is hard sometimes. One thing I will say is, though, working with the Kuni No Senso Discord, it's all easy. Like, you can work with people in your section. You have everything marked out. I'm working on this other one for a Hunter x Hunter comic, and I'm just going to do a narrator part. And I'm asking stuff, like, I'm trying to get, like, how they want me to say it, nothing. It's so hard to follow, so hard to understand what's going on. It's just everywhere. So...
So the main thing that I'm more focused on is I have people record their lines after being cast, which will happen for some roles on January 18th and then some roles on February 4th. No, 2nd. I always mix the two dates up somehow. But regardless, the thing is, I have it to where some roles will be cast then, other roles will be cast later, mainly because those roles appear later, so they can be cast later. But
Yeah,
the
it
thing
gives me
is,
more
once
room
they
to.
actually start doing the voice acting, I get really picky with their delivery. Like, if there's a certain way that I don't want it to be delivered, I'll put some feedback in. Like, let's say somebody delivers a line a bit slowly in the part where I want it to be running a bit fast. At that point, I would say, could you speed this line up a bit more? And so they might think, okay. And the only problem with that is that we don't have like a physical copy of the script. So they might have to print off that script to where they can put in the notes like speed up here, slow down, maybe even emphasize this word and not this word.
Yeah, and see that's what a voice actor does. They work with with the direct. Gosh dang it, I don't know why, but I cannot English today. It's so bad. Um, but that's what a voice actor's supposed to do. They're just servants. They're just here to provide your voice basically. So you say it and they're supposed to do it. But
Yeah,
I like
as long as
how
it's not an impossible demand, that's fine.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want like some high pitched person to do a super low like demonic voice, it's not gonna really happen unless they have the right equipment. But 9 times out of 10, it's not the best way to go for it. But one thing I will say is that you're super organized. With how long have you set? How much time did you spend setting the Discord up, setting the script up, setting everything up before you set it on casting call?
Before I put it on the casting call, I had it to where at least episodes 1 and 2 were completed in the script. That way, there would be some lines other than say something you think would fit. Because whenever I see that, I just immediately think, nope, I'm not going to do it. Because the thing is, whenever I say something you think would fit, I think, do they even have the script done? They might not even have the full story. Because say something you think would fit means they don't have a line that they would think is good for somebody auditioning with it. Because they might not be confident in the writing, or they might not even care that much.
And
They might think,
that's a great point. And there's another thing is like the actor could be a great actor if they read and they may not be able to improv at all. So you're almost cutting off half of your contributors at the same time as having a very poor start. So
yeah,
I just find it okay. I'm just like I'm already part of a few projects. But yours is the most organized. It has the best setup. And I know you've had the story made for 4 years now. It's 2020, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
basically,
almost 4 years.
almost 4 years, and you've worked on that and fleshed it out. And then you finally, how did you have the Discord set up before you had the casting call?
I did have the Discord set up before I had the casting call, yes.
So you had the Discord set up, you had it all organized, and see, this is one thing that I like. I just want to like say you did a great job on is having everything set before you went into it. And that's a lot of
Thank
things
you.
that people now don't realize and how important it is you need to have everything planned out to an extent, like at least the bare necessities, and have some sort of structure before you go off and throw out your project out there. Now, if it's saying, hey, I need help developing this project, I have this idea and I want it to be this, yeah, that's a different thing. But if you have, okay, I have this that needs to be this way, but I only have this script, these few lines here or there, the Discord, I mean, it has a general chat, but like it's so hard to work with. And so for anyone who's wanting to do a project, this is very important that you need to focus on is structure. And that's one thing I will say Hayden here has done very, very well. So,
And even then, some things on the Discord were very recent additions. For example, I actually put a chat in for spoilers, just in case if somebody wants to actually discuss episodes on the Discord. But the thing is, I'm really adamant about not having people spoiled for it, because the idea of tension is one thing that you'll notice really drives home in Kuni No Senso, I guess.
yeah, there's
Oh, wait,
definitely.
we're going on a tangent here. So we were talking about the to-do list that I have for Kuni No Senso.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went all the way to structuring casting calls.
Here
and
at
whatnot.
Geekiality, we don't really have structure. We have the main point, right? Which is the main point was the background of why you did Kunai no Senso, your plans for the future, and all that. And then whatever happens, because that's where a discussion is. A lot of people, I just want to have a good talk, I just want to talk to people. Keep it real. Keep it real, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after all the roles are casted, and I'll still be taking certain art department, video editing, composer, art department, that kind of stuff. Like anything that could contribute more and doesn't need to be one person carrying that entire job, I'm still willing to take more people for that role.
Yeah.
Because the more the merrier, and it allows you to pump out the works faster and at a reasonable pace to where you might be able to say, we can make episodes at insert interval of time here, but that's not really what I'm focused on. I'm more focused on making sure that we get the project at decent quality.
See, I like how
maybe not even decent, maybe even the best quality humanly possible
for our standards.
Yes.
See, that's what I like. You're not so time focused because we're not structured to a time. We're structured to whenever we get it done, which is awesome because it gives us that time to really flush it out and make it an awesome production.
And another thing is we have such a small crew that we really can't put a due date on anything because that's
true.
Lessen the quality.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough people working on it. So you've got to cut a bunch of corners to make sure that you can actually get it out on time.
See, I'm a big quality over quantity guy. So I like to make sure everything's the way it is. And also back to what we're talking about with when you're going to bring in other people to the role, getting back onto the topic. I have to agree with that because if you bring in other people, like I never would have thought I was actually going to be scene editing because I just applied for voice acting. That's it. And all of a sudden, Kate down there, I was just being curious under the story writers. She was talking about something in the story, and I was like, well, I mean, from what I've read and what I've watched, I think it would be good this way, or I agree this would be great this way. And the brainstorming that can be produced by two different minds builds something even better, as long as you're willing to give up a part and then give a part. And I've noticed that not just.
I think the first thing that you actually contributed was a small snippet of a scene description for episode 3. That was the first thing you contributed to the project in terms of writing.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, that's what it was. It was I took the script that she wrote when they entered the city. The first actual thing that I wrote was typing it out on my open office and sending it over in a PDF to see if you would even like it. But
it was pretty good though.
Thank you.
And then
you
actually had it to where you were scene editing the entirety of episode 4 as Kate was writing the entire script. You were just going down a little bit later, like maybe this scene could have camera angle insert here, like cut to this character, cut to exact position of camera here, etc., etc. And that does, I do believe that it will probably make it much, much easier for the artists to be able to keep up.
And also hope that it makes the quality as well, because camera angles are actually a very big thing with production because they can add feeling. A lot of people don't realize that. Like if you're looking down on someone, it make them look smaller. If you're looking up, it makes them look bigger. If you're and I didn't even think about this, but you know that video that you put of like how to animate a sword fight or how to do a sword fight thing?
Yeah.
Well, when I was doing scene editing, it talks about pauses, and I sat there like, okay, we need a weird pause here because to build tension. And I watched the video, I was like, oh yeah, they get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just back to what we're talking about. Brainstorming, having more people in a role isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think it's a great thing as long as you don't have too many. But because of the amount of brainstorming you can build and develop by having all these different minds, like we'll ask you some things, we'll ask other people things. We'll have voice actors and like people who aren't even part of the project yet come in and be like, hey, what if you guys did this? And be like, you know what? That actually makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, even as I go through some of the script outlines, I do notice some plot holes, and I try to patch those up as soon as I possibly can before people accidentally let that plot hole sink into the
I've
actual
noticed a couple
project.
things, but I was like, well, it can be avoided. They're not huge things though, so they're not like detrimental.
Yeah, but I did kind of catch one in episode 6's script outline, and thank goodness she hadn't gotten that far yet, because otherwise that would have made zero sense.
See, I didn't see. See, I can't like. I saw like one or two, but like for me, small ones. But of course, I don't know as much as you because you're the creator. So, but yeah, see, back. What are we talking about? We're all over the freaking English.
The starting topic was the to-do list.
To-do list. Now we're on the. We got done with roles. Talking about roles are important.
We cast everybody, and now we're in the production of the episode. We have it to where the voice actors are recording their dialogue as the art department is also completing the storyboards. Then after the storyboards and dialogue are both done, then we complete an animatic with the video editors and me, because I realized that there is such thing as a free video editing software that does not require a watermark, and that is VideoPad by NCH, I think it is. Let me just pull this up.
Really? There's like a free
NCH
wait, is it animation NCH, or actually like video editor?
It's actually video editor.
Wait, what is it called?
It's NCH Software's VideoPad video editor free. And I actually got it on the Microsoft store, believe it or not. I didn't even know that was a thing until I was linked to it by the director for another project. And sometimes I could actually add other things to that as well. Like, for example, if I were to add in a direction, like put this character's leitmotif here for the composers, because that's actually the next step, composing an animation. Because then we have it to where the music's composed, the animation is done. And I think that in certain episodes, there are going to be scenes where the music is the carrying force and there's little to no dialogue.
Mm-hmm. There's a scene in number 2, right? Episode 2, isn't there one? Or is it episode
1 with no music?
No, with music and no dialogue. Or is it episode 1?
Music and no dialogue. There kind of is one in episode 1.
It's when they're on the hill, right? Or in the battlefield, right?
Yeah, that's
okay. Yeah.
During the first date scene.
Yeah, good scenes.
But the thing is, it kind of, my idea is that a lack of a certain thing that has become an established part of it can really drive home a sense of importance. Like in the 8th episode, there are actually 2 different scenes where there's a distinct lack of something. Like, for example, in one part, there's a lack of dialogue. And then the part directly after it, there's a lack of music. And that kind of adds a very strange feeling of tension, because like I've been emphasizing throughout this entire video, tension is an amazing part of what makes Kuni No Senso the project that it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see the end of this project, and that's why I wormed my way into scene editing, because I wanted to see this thing all the way through, because I knew if I didn't get because we have a lot of voice acting talent, and I'm not the best with the voices I cast for, but I saw a lot of my brain won't work. I saw a lot of potential in this project that I've seen more than anything else I've seen as an indie project, and I really wanted to see it through, and I'm really excited to see where this comes out in the end, because I think it's going to be great. So, as production goes, do you plan on doing are you going to animate? Okay, so are you animating off your voice acting, or are you voice acting off your animation?
I'm probably going to have it to where the animation is off the voice act.
Okay.
Similar to how Disney does it in comparison to anime. To where improvisation is possible, but not really something I would personally put in. It's available just in case if a line's really awkward, but it's not required.
And so then your music's going to go on top of that.
The music's going to be something along the lines of the voice acting is essentially the
foundation,
if you will. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was just very interested because there's different ways you can do it. So like in Japanime, they do the animation, then they do the voice acting on top of the animation, and I think they do music and stuff. No, they do.
Yeah.
They do animation, music, and then voice acting at the end, so they can get the feeling, because they have to match the voice with the mouth, or dubbed anime anyways. And then Disney, like you said, is the voice act, everything's separate, melded together.
Yeah. Because the way I have it is that we have it to where the storyboard is done alongside the voice acting, to where essentially the animatic is going to be what determines the pacing of certain things. Like the music is kind of going to be a bit forced into a certain time restraint, if you will, because different scenes will have different pacings that need to be done for different things. But I'm going to try to make sure that the animatic has enough distance between certain things to where the pacing wouldn't sacrifice too much of the music, and that a coherent musical idea can happen. And there are some scenes where everything services the music. There's not a lot of scenes where everything services the animation, but there are scenes where everything services the voice acting and everything services the music.
So on animation, are your main focuses on the voice acting and the music rather than the animation?
Yeah, because I'm not a very good artist, so the animation, I'm going to make sure that it's pleasant to look at
Mm-hmm.
and does function well enough. But the thing is, I'm not very good with art myself, so I don't feel I'm very qualified to critique it.
Yeah.
But I want it to be at least visually pleasing for a person who isn't good at art, such as myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. Especially the biggest thing is, since we're in the indie bracket of things, is that we need to have that pleasant to look at and like animation, because a lot of people don't listen to the awesome voice acting. A lot of people don't listen to the amazing composing. Some people would watch just the anime and see, okay, well, it's kind of choppy. It's not so good. I don't want to watch this. And then you got the others that actually watch through the whole thing because they realize that there's more into it than more in the background than just the cover of the book. Like they like to read the book and read everything inside of it that makes it work. So we probably definitely need some sort of pleasant, but it looks like the art we have is pretty pleasant. The Yukon, I like the look of Yukon so far. So.
That's the main design that was drawn by one of our artists. That's really all we have at the moment in terms of final designs, but we do have concept arts for each of the characters, just to kind of allow characters to have like a good idea of what they look like.
So are we gonna do, what kind of animation are we doing? Are we doing like a flip book style where we have we draw the character, then we draw him again in another motion, like, you know what I'm saying, like old Disney style, or we're gonna take the art and then be able to modify it to fit our needs? Like, are we gonna make I guess
we're going to be doing
character?
a 2D animation because, as I said in the casting call explainer video, 3D animation won't really fit the vision very well, because it is kind of one of those shows where a gritty art style is necessary to be able to pull it off, and 3D kind of gives everything a bit of a shine.
It does. And there's some good 3D animation, but I think I prefer 2D. But
there's a lot more that you have with 2D animation, because while you can make stuff much quicker with 3D animation, you lose a sort of diversity of each movement.
You also seem to feel like I lose feeling if I watch a 3D animation, but if I watch a 2D animation, you kind of feel like the work that was put into it. In my opinion, I don't know if you feel the same, but that's how I feel about it.
Because making a 2D animation is much, much more difficult, but I guess I just have a bit of a better feeling to it. Like, I'm okay with 3D animation, but I am not a huge fan of the fact that Disney has become a 100% 3D animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, because now everything's...
The last 2D animation Disney made in a feature film was The Princess and the Frog. And yeah, while that's a good movie, it's not the big fanfare of the style that I would have really appreciated.
Old 2D animations of Disney, I don't know which one would be my favorite. They had a lot of good ones. I like the old classic Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck shorts, like all those little shorts. Those are great.
Yeah, those good old 1920s through 40s through or whatever decade. They didn't really produce those as much anymore.
It has such a weird feeling that's just unique with a 2D animation. that you can't get with anything else.
It's essentially the style of
Yeah.
what made Disney essentially the rubber hose style, if you will.
Yeah, that's
It
very
was
very true.
that kind of put around the vibe of the 1920s animation.
Yeah.
And while most people don't really talk about it that much, Fantasia,
Oh my
like,
gosh, I
that was an
love
amazingly
Fantasia.
structured film. And now I'm not, it's kind of weird that I'm saying, although people don't talk about it as much, I'm saying this from the perspective of the entire Disney chronology. Not a lot of people say that Fantasia is one of the best films.
A lot of people I don't even think know what Fantasia is.
Yeah, like most people don't even talk about Fantasia 2000.
Which
Most
is
people consider that to be absolutely just a clunker.
it's
And
which is weird
but I
because it's such an amazing work of art. The animations are some of the most beautiful animations I've ever seen. The composing and the live music is mixed so well.
and don't tell me about the choice of music. Now, there are some things about the choice of music that aren't preferable to me. Like, for example, they did kind of chop up the Rite of Spring a little bit, but then again, 30 minutes of dinosaurs is very hard for most people that aren't me when I was 6 years old to sit through.
Yeah.
But another thing is, they did also change the original material, or original, like, programmatic material would be the term, of different productions. Like, they had it to where the Rite of Spring, which was originally about pagan Russia and ends with a ritualistic sacrificial dance, that's not very kid friendly. Let's change it to dinosaurs. And yeah, it does kind of fit the dinosaur context really well as well. But that's another thing. You have to understand that the entire thing about Fantasia was that the interpretations of the music was not put together by a musician. It was put together by the people and animators at Disney at the time. And that's what makes Fantasia really interesting. It's a blend of the images you get in your head, or at least what they got in their head when they were listening to this.
And it's kind of one of the first to do that, isn't it? I don't really.
Well, the thing is, synchronized film with sound has been a thing for a while. Like, one of the first sound productions, The Jazz Singer, was entirely based on lip syncing to existing popular music at the time. So it's not really a novel concept, but the way Disney put it together, he had a really, really grand vision. He had it to where theaters had to install a early version of surround sound called Fantasound. And he originally planned that there would be fragrances sprayed as you watched it.
Oh, that would
And
be
another
cool.
thing is, he had originally planned it to where certain sequences would be cut and other sequences would be added throughout the year as you watched it, to where different experiences of Fantasia would be, well, different.
Man, why do they? I would love that. They should bring that. Honestly, I think it'd be awesome if they brought that whole project back with 2D animation, just as a side project from all the 3D stuff to bring back. Well, first
Different,
off, to
like,
bring back the old style for the new generations, and to bring in the old generations to back to what they're used to. I think it'd be a great thing to do.
yeah, and there was 2D animation in Fantasia 2000. Now, there was a lot of digital animation, but one of my favorite sequences in Fantasia 2000 was Rhapsody in Blue, which was, I believe, entirely done in 3D animation.
Which part was that
Or
one?
2D. That was the one with the what's the most recognizable part? It's in New York. I think that's the most recognizable aspect. It is definitely in New York. There's a construction worker who aspires to be a jazz musician.
Oh yeah. That one's okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was a great
entirely in 2D animation, and that stands as one of my favorites because Rhapsody in Blue is also one of my favorite pieces of 1920s classical music. Now, that's really specific because classical music in the 1920s is a bit of a very strict outline, but the thing is, it's just really, really well constructed.
See, my favorite part of the Fantasia would obviously the very first with Mickey and the magician and the
The
brooms.
Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yes, and I don't I'm not I don't know any of the composing names and the music names. Song
Okay,
names, my
so
bag.
I'm gonna go on a bit of a line here and just say all of them. So the first musical sequence that was ever put in any Fantasia film, including Fantasia 2000, the original Fantasia, was Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor, and that was arranged for orchestra by Leopold Stowinski, or Stokowski is actually the proper pronunciation, and I just messed that up. Okay, but after that was the Nutcracker Suite by Tchaikovsky, and the thing is, they actually had it to where the sequences were, I believe, they were moved around, but that's beside the point. After that, there's The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Paul Dukas, which was actually based on a poem by Goethe, I believe is the proper pronunciation. I don't know because I am not German or whatever nationality he was. But the thing is, it was based on a poem, so they were able to keep the original programmatic material because the story was written before the composer wrote the piece.
Is this
After
all?
that's-
Is this all off the top of your head?
Yeah,
That's insane.
it's one of my favorite movies. So yeah.
Well, yeah.
But
I
after that is Igor Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring, which was actually the piece that got me into classical music, mainly
Interesting.
because I was told of extreme chaotic dissonance, and I thought, you know what? I'm an edgy 14-year-old. I'm going to listen to that. And so I did. And that's how I fell down this rabbit hole.
I'm an edgy 14-year-old. I'm gonna listen to classical music.
But
That's
have
not.
you ever heard The Rite of Spring? It's actually really, really dissonant.
No, yeah. Well, classical music was what founded all of the music we have today. It has even more feeling than the songs we have now. But usually, when you hear a 14-year-old,
Talking about,
no, sorry,
oh my god, Billie Eilish is so
Oh
deep.
my
You actually
gosh.
think, well, actually pop music and R&B and rock and roll and all of the genres we usually have on the radio nowadays, especially in my area, we don't have a classical radio station, but it's beside the point. Most of the music we listen to is based on West African drum rhythms, actually. And when we brought those musical traditions over to our country, despite the fact that this was brought in through a consensual way, aka slavery, but we don't talk about that, we had started to adapt their musical ideas into our own musical ideas. We took these ideas brought on by West African drumming, and then we took those West African drum rhythms and all that, and eventually we got most of the music we have nowadays. And the reason why it's separate from classical music is that while the classical harmony might be in some music, there's actually not a whole lot of input from that. It's more something along the lines of how do I describe it? Most of the music we listen to and perform, we feel the pulse to where when we're playing, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we feel that pulse. Meanwhile, in classical music, you have a conductor or concertmaster, whichever way you describe it. And that person is your pulse. You have to watch that person direct the music to where you don't fall behind. You aren't feeling when the next beat is, you're looking to see when the next beat is in classical music.
That's a great way to put it. I've never really looked at the difference to be that way, but if you really sit and think about all the times you've listened to it, and if you put them together, I can predict music this might be a weird skill of mine, but especially with modern day music, I can predict things on the spot. In some classical music I can too, but there's more classical music that I can't predict, where they'll just suddenly drop tempo, or they'll speed up, or all of a sudden they'll drop and the flutes will come in for a solo unexpectedly, compared to what we have now, where almost everything's predictable and completely the same. I kind of wish that we had more. What was that?
Music.
Sorry,
to
Discord's
the more
like
experiment.
Discord's being Discord and chopping you out. Of course, Discord has to stay in beta for 5 years because they can't get their crap together. Thank you, Discord.
Regardless, I was saying.
And you're still chopping in and out. Gosh, freaking dang it,
time
Discord.
signature.
Okay, there you go. You're back. You're back. You're gonna have to say
The
all
thing
of that
is-
over again.
Okay, so most music we listen to is in a very strict pool of time signatures that we're allowed to use. Like there are some songs that are most songs are in 4/4. There are some that have a sort of 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 feel. That's 12/8 time. And then there are some that are in 3/4, and those kind of sound like a waltz, I guess. But that's the general outline of how most music is structured. Pieces like older classical music, once you get to like the classical era, as in composers like Haydn, Mozart, Bach, although not Bach's Baroque, but Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven, those composers, they usually stayed in one time signature. But once you get into Romanticism, composers like Dvorak start showing up, and his Third Symphony is based on time signatures of, like, the first movement is either 6/8, 3/8, or 3/4. Those are the main time signatures of the first movement, and they have it to where they alternate. But then you get into Impressionism, and Igor Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring. The pulse, there is no real consistent time signature throughout the entire piece. The piece starts in 4/4, and then literally the second bar, it goes to 3/4, then back to 4/4, then 2/4.
That would be horrible to play.
It's at a very slow tempo, so you don't really have
Okay, so
much of a big deal.
Yeah, that wouldn't be so bad, but.
And the thing is, after you get into the second section, it does kind of stay a bit lower down in that consistent 2/4, and then 3/4, maybe a bar of 3/4 here and there. Essentially, it's chaos in that. There's no strict time signature for the piece. And one of the most infamous bars to count out is a bar of 11/4 time. That actually exists in the piece.
Wait, what's 11/4? I've never heard of 11/4 before.
11/4 is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. 1 2 3 4 5 6
So it's just
7
11.
8 9 10 11. Yeah, 11 beats of 4, or 11 quarter notes in a measure. And the thing is,
Okay, I think I see it now.
is so chaotic. And some people decided, you know what, the next section is just absolute insanity. Let's count it out this way. Igor Stravinsky is a son of a bitch.
Gosh dang it, now I gotta censor that. Ugh.
Oh yeah, we're trying to keep it kid friendly, aren't we?
What is it? Let me just write down a piece of paper so I don't have to listen to the whole thing again. But
all right.
No, you're fine. I'll just edit it out. That's my job anyways. Let's just go 44 minutes. Yoop. Okay, good enough. Throw that over there. Awesome, we're done.
Okay.
Good so is that really how they?
Know. Yeah, a lot of people do count it that way.
That's insane.
Mainly because.
No, it's not insane. It's just I don't know why I use the term insane.
Kind of
but
in the same way that people will
funny.
Count out 7/8 just as a joke, as Epstein didn't kill himself. Epstein didn't kill himself. Because people actually do that nowadays.
I know, and like, well
at least
same
in the
with
community.
With like a triple, let you strawberry or library, like strawberry.
Yeah.
I know also machine gunners in the military, when they use instead of because they don't use full auto, they use burst fire, so they say son of a, and then they'll let go, and that's how they'll time their bursts. Which is, it's funny how we as humans relate things that we know into other things, like how we come up with phrases to remember things, like PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or like never eat soggy waffles, or never eat sour watermelon for Northeast Southwest. It's just kind of weird how we do that. But anyways, back to the it's the sound of spring, correct? Wait, what is it?
Rite of Spring.
Light of Spring?
Rite of Spring. Like right.
Right.
RITE.
Yeah. Rite of Spring. So back to the Rite of Spring being so chaotic that it intrigued your 14 edgy self to Get, get
Yeah, the thing
into.
is, there's like a lot happening in the piece. And at one point, I just thought, what am I listening to here? I am just what? And the thing is, my first experience listening to the entire piece was using a Discord music bot while playing League of Legends. That was my first experience with the entire piece. There were some dabbles in the like first few parts of the piece here and there, but not really the entire one. And I think one of my favorite sections is one that actually got cut from Fantasia, sadly, and that was Spring Round. Mainly because near the end of that section, there's a really insanely loud part, and it kind of hits you out of nowhere unless you're expecting it. And at one point, there's a trombone glissando, and I notated it on a copy of the score. It's supposed to be delivered as if it's just ripping your soul out, because that's kind of how I felt it when I first listened to it.
I need to wait. What is that called? I need to write that down and listen to that. That's interesting.
The Rite of Spring.
Wait, the one that Disney took out was the. Is it like a second half of it? So.
Nah, it's actually called Spring Rounds. It's the fourth section of the first act.
Okay.
And it actually cut out just before that part, because I remember having downloaded the recording on my phone, wanting like a full version of the entire piece, and it cut out before my favorite section. Now, I did eventually find the recording that I first had experience with, and it is still one of my favorite recordings of the piece to this day. And that performance was by Leonard Bernstein in the New York Philharmonic on, I think it was January, but I do know the year was 1958.
So, one of my favorite scenes in Fantasia, I don't know what scene it was and what song they used, but it was the one with the mushrooms and the hammers.
Mushrooms and the hammers?
What was it? Like the little, I don't know, but they had like the four big mushrooms. No, okay, there wasn't any hammers. They were just walking around.
Actually, during the Nutcracker Suite, that was I think that was the Tree Pack. No, it's not the Tree Pack. Tree Pack was the Russian dance. Yeah. I do know the original context. It was part of that section where they totally tried to understand what Japan was, but failed miserably.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. It is the Nutcracker.
Context.
That is the Nutcracker one. Okay. That's right.
Yeah, that was the original context, but the actual name I don't know. Even though I saw the thing at a Capitol Theater. That's actually our local theater, and they recently had a production by the Minnesota Ballet Company of the Nutcracker Suite. And it was hard for me to sit through because they recommended that we clapped in places other than the ending. And me having a very classical understanding nowadays, I was kind of dying inside a little bit as they just clapped when they thought, okay, this section's probably over. And I was like, do these people not know you wait till the end to clap?
That I feel that though. I've done band for, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, at least 4 years. I think 4 or 5 years. No, 3 or 4 years. There we go. That's a more accurate representation. So yeah, I definitely know how that feels. Well, just in general, like you don't clap when someone's in the middle of something. You always wait till the end. Oh man. So back to Kuni No Senso.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, so the third part of production is the compose all the music, do the animation, and that's when we start wrapping up production because that's basically when production is getting close to an end. So once they finally have all the music composed and all the animation is done, we take that episode in its now complete form, and we take certain parts of it to create a teaser trailer. And then we put that teaser trailer on like a YouTube channel, which I still have not made, which I probably should because it turns out we don't have any like way to specifically distribute it. But we create a teaser trailer, and then after the teaser trailer is up, we can put down like a release date on the episode. Then we wait till that day, and then we publish the episode. And that's basically, yeah, that means that by that point we're done with the episode. We don't really need the episode, but we will probably keep footage just in case if there's like some sort of flashback
Yeah, I was
scene
gonna say
in an episode.
you always have to keep it for flashbacks. Flashbacks are the best because that's when you
Flashbacks are always great.
that's when you put in that plot twist and that one subtle thing, like first for a dumb example with the knife in the top left corner of the map, because I doubt this would be it. But that like one thing ends up being like this one thing that leads to this thing and being this thing, and it's like a one of those the Sixth Sense kind of feelings where you're
Yes,
like, oh
a major
crap,
plot
I
twist.
saw that the whole time, but it was right, I couldn't see it.
Yeah. Is that really such a major plot twist? And I did plan on having a plot twist temporarily, but I decided no, it's way too late in me actually deciding that the series should be worked on by other people for me to add this plot twist.
Plot twists are hard to add. They're very hard to manipulate and put it to where you need it to be. It's there because I've done a little bit of writing. I've done a little bit of because I make RPGs and board games and stuff like that. And
Yeah, because I'm kind of worried about the placement of one of the major plot twists of the series.
I need to read the script, the story outline again.
Because the thing is, I did have it kind of revealed a little. I feel like I'm kind of revealing the plot twist late enough, but it doesn't really seem
Wait,
prompted.
is the plot twist talked about in the outline?
Yes, the plot twist, all of the story elements are talked about in the outline.
I need to read that again.
Anything that will be put in the script will be in the
I have too much physics and math going on right now.
script outlines.
Yeah, I need to reread that. So we went through the production. We went through kind of like how you got started, how now we have all of these people in a part of it. Where?
Oh
wait.
I haven't gone over like how I structure the script outlines.
Oh, okay. How do you structure these script outlines, Hayden?
Okay, so the thing is, I usually start off with like a very vague description of a 3-part separation of the episode. Like I will have it to where, let's say we start off with that kind of 3-act separation of the episode, like the beginning, the resolution, and the conflict. Now, the beginning, the conflict, or like the exposition, conflict, resolution.
Your
Let's say that
standard.
the exposition is person has a flat tire. Now, the exposition is person is trying to go to work. The conflict would then be person has a flat tire. Resolution is person finds spare tire in the trunk. So then what I do is I take these vague descriptions and then I start working out details in taking this 3-part and making it a 6-part in depth. That also requires me to explain certain things and come up with certain ideas much, much better. Because if I just had a 6-part vague description, then the script would be very, very hard for people to work through or create. And that would be kind of bad. But thankfully, I'd been envisioning the project for 4 years before I told anybody it even existed. So that's an advantage. And during that time, I managed to have a very small scope to where the idea of something, or the kind of entire story, is basically planned out. I kind of have almost the entire lore of this series just basically complete. I have essentially enough ideas for material that OVAs could be possible.
I still think that one ending we came up. Oh, that's how I got in. It was about talking about the OVA and the ending with Zero and him being the one. You know what with the swords and the.
Like, yeah, I guess
it was a big mystery and who it was, and we talked about who it could be, and. Anyways.
Yeah. That's kind of a bit of a leak, but
no one's gonna listen to this anyways.
It's almost it's basically a small detail in the end of the last episode that it's probably going to be revolved if people keep on pressuring me for a season 2. I'm just going to make a season 2, make it basically impossible to continue and say any further continuations of the story are spurious, as in this is the end of the canon.
AKA screw you.
Yes.
So here,
Pretty much
let me
that.
show you how many people are gonna listen to the small minuscule leak I just sent there. Let me pull up my YouTube studio here. Let me go to my podcast here, and let me go to the most view. Oh wait, why does it say I have no content? Oh wait, it's the wrong account. No, this is the right. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's like 33 views. I'm a very small podcast. It's really sad. Oh well. Anyways, back to what we're talking about. So
Yeah. Okay.
script outlines, OVAs. You have it all set up to where it can be possible for OVAs.
Yeah, I do have certain parts of the lore that aren't explored in depth, but could be explored upon. Like, it's entirely possible that I could create an OVA entirely based on the plights of our main antagonist of the series, Kunshu Mujihina. And the thing is, I have it to where there are certain aspects that are kind of left vague. For example, we don't really know his backstory, but spoiler alert, it's not very important to his motivations. Because you see, I structured Kunshu as being the pure evil villain because we don't see a lot of those nowadays.
It's
We
just
always
your
think
classic
we
villain.
need to give the character some sort of complex backstory to make them understandable. No, you can just have your antagonist be a major dick, but as long as your main villain has some sort of qualities that make them enjoyable to watch, that is what makes them good writing. Because making a pure evil villain is not bad writing. Bad writing is writing that doesn't work. But Kunshu seems to work as a character.
He really does. He's actually one of my favorite characters. Like I'm the relationship between him and Yukon that is developed early on is incredible. It's just like it starts from nothing to immediately there's conflict.
Yeah, it's something to where I started off with a sort of notion like he's kind of a bad person, but but he doesn't really have a personal vendetta, I guess would be the proper term. Like Yukon knows this guy's bad, but he doesn't know or doesn't have anything against him until the end of episode 1 when he's like, okay, this guy's an absolute person that I cannot deal with. I was about to say something, but that would also have to be censored.
I already have two timestamps I have to look at now. So I got this new mic and the new setup. Well, not new mic, but I got this new setup. And so it has a sound gate. So if I talk over here, you can't hear it. And so I keep going off because I'm used to it being able to pick me up. And you
Yeah.
gosh dang it, now I'm hitting stuff. It's bad. Anyways, so you have the lore, you have the structure, you have it all climaxed, beginning, ending, out. Is there anything else you do with your plot structure, per se?
Well, the main thing is with the plot structure, I have it to where there are also some details like explanations for certain things. Like sometimes there are some things that I don't feel like cramming in that small space, so I have something like an also this is the thing or flashback insert number here. And I actually do have one in episode 9 that's tagged unspoken lore. That's also something that would have to be explained in some sort of extra series because there is a huge aspect that wouldn't really affect the main plot unless I were to have, or like, unless something would change in the actual story that I have written. Like, if certain events didn't happen, or if a certain event was changed in a way, then this would be the outcome. I have sort of what ifs planned out in a way. It's not they're not all planned out, but there are some that are.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, going back to the very beginning, what inspired you to make Kunai no Senso?
Well, I don't know. It just came to me one day. I just thought, you know what? I had ideas for series, but most of them were kind of generic. Like one was a series in the zombie apocalypse. We've seen plenty of those, and I'm pretty sure there are plenty of TV shows going on right now that are taking place in a zombie apocalypse or some sort of apocalypse. Because we kind of have a sort of post-apocalypse genre already established.
Yeah. This genre is very interesting, the one that you made here, because it's a mix of medieval but modern, but it's one of those weird genres that's very unique. And this genre is actually one of my personal favorites, where it's a mix of modern and old medieval fantasy style.
Well, that was actually kind of by accident. I originally planned that it was going to be 100% medieval, but then I realized that there were going to end up being some modern elements suddenly leaking in, and then I realized this might be a problem. So I had to try to make it to where there were some elements that proved, yeah, we're in a modern era, but there are also some things that occur that would be more medieval based.
See, for me, that genre is like my favorite. I don't know why. I just love that mix of fantasy and modern because it's something that it's taking the best of the old and the best of the new and melding it together to make this cool world that's never going to exist.
And another thing is, I have a really interesting workaround for at least one of those cognitive dissonances, if you will. Like, you think that we're in a modern world, and we actually technically would be, but at one point in the second episode, it's revealed they're traveling on horseback, and you think, why? Why are these people traveling on horseback when they have fully functioning vehicles? Well, here's the excuse. You see, Yukon left his car at the dinery, as in, he left his car at the restaurant. He really doesn't have any way to access the vehicle. So, since Kadaina's family is not able to afford cars for everybody, then they have to ride horses. It kind of puts off the medieval vibe without creating some sort of way of saying, wait a minute, why can't these people drive cars? Cars exist in this world.
Yeah, see, and when I was making the map, because when I was making the map, I had to really understand if there's like castle walls and whatever. But I think it would be so cool to have like a castle wall, right? You walk in through the giant gates. You have the old cobblestone paths, but they're nicely padded down, so it's almost like a paved road, but it's with cobblestone. And you have like modern shops mixed in with an old tavern over here. Like I figured the pink what the first tavern that they go in as the three to figure out their plan, I figured it'd be like a mix of a modern with with old wooden trims and like a hay top, like a hay roof. It's kind of like a mix of both. Is how I kind of envisioned how you're going with this world. I don't know if that's at all accurate, but that's kind of what I saw and how I felt.
Which, as a spoof, guess it here.
You're chopping out because of Discord again.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you're back. You might have to redo it. Re-say what you just said.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Discord. Can you just work for me for once in your life?
Yeah.
Am I chopping for you as well?
I say yeah. It is a spoof off of Burger King. So I essentially did establish that it was a fast food restaurant.
Yes.
The restaurant in the first episode, which is actually based off of a local restaurant in my area, the Pink Tavern, that one is based on, that was just called the Grand Dinery. I couldn't come up with a name better. And it does kind of work, I guess. It's like a small town. There's only one Grand Dinery in Shirotan, which is actually Yukon's hometown. But anyway, the pub they visit in the 5th episode is going to be called the Shaggy Leg, and I got that one off of a website called fantasynamegenerators.com/innames.php. I just generated one, and it sounded good, so I went with it. Anyway,
I mean, that's what I do. Anytime if it's like something in a world that I have no clue about, I just like name generator. Yeah, that sounds good. About good. No, we'll just go with that.
Yeah, so that's basically the names of all of the, I guess, pubs. I don't know, more or less. But another thing is, there's just a lot to wrap your head around with the series. We have it to where we're trying to introduce different aspects gradually, but we don't know how easy that's going to be. And another thing is there's going to be a lot that has to be, well, not maybe elaborated on. Actually, another thing is like, I when Kate actually read the rest of the script outlines, because she was kind of on the tendency of looking at the outline for that episode that she's working on, and that's it. Once she actually read it, she was like, "Oh my god, this series is freaking epic." Kind of bummed out that insert character that will not be named here dies, but that character's development is magnificent.
Oh, yeah, she
I didn't
also
even
wait.
realize that there was any character development happening. I was like, okay, like it's kind of subconscious, I guess.
I also find it funny what she added. I don't know. Wait, did you add it or did she add it in episode 5 where Kadaina starts getting a little?
Kadaina
My
gets
bad.
drunk in episode 5.
It's amazing. Did she add that, or was that? Or was
She
that
added that. It was amazing.
I haven't read it yet, and I wanted to. I need to read it, but I need to get caught up on school first, because that's
Yeah.
no
'cause
offense,
the
but that's
drunk-
that's a little more important. But
yeah, because I'm pretty sure you would probably want to be able to get a good job.
yeah, I'd like to be an
And
aerospace
you can't really
engineer.
rely on an admittedly amazingly written series.
Oh, it's great
Not-
writing. It's
not-
amazing
not gloating-
writing.
Not trying to flex my own writing because I am absolutely terrible with dialogue.
Oh, I'm
but-
okay with dialogue, but not like I'm more scene. Like I'm more descriptive. But Kate, holy crap, she does a great job. I don't know what the other. I haven't seen a whole lot with the other writers and stuff. They probably do a whole lot, but I don't know. I just talk to Kate more. So
Yeah, at one point, Kate actually said that we were some of the few people who were actually contributing, but I wouldn't say that's truly it. It's just that most people probably haven't found the time to be able to do it.
that or just they don't really know what they need to do or what they're best at.
Yeah.
But at the moment, yeah, we're kind of the main pioneers working on everything.
And for the most part, it's probably more something along the lines of most people here would end up being more editing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then making sure everything goes through and everything's gramified up and ready to go. And then you also have half the people on here are voice actors that are just waiting to see if they get casted or not.
Yeah,
But-
let me see how many people are have like a primary role of voice actor. There's 1, 2.
I think like 13. Some of them have backups, but because
Yeah, there are 13 people who are mostly on there as voice actors.
because I know.
but
Well, Julian
even then
actually,
there's-
he's actually a composer. It's whatever one you put on second is what pops up. So like I
Yeah.
put on my primary was a voice actor, and then I just kind of became a writer. So I put writer. So now I'm technically a writer. But
Actually, that's not really it. It's more something along the lines of I put it in a very weird order to where the order that I have listed is under the roles. There's writers, editors, animators, artists, voice actors, composer, audio engineer, and video editor. Those are the roles in that order.
and
to
visionary.
where-
You got the visionary at the top with his little crown and.
Yes, I am the visionary. That's just a fancy way to say director, though.
I like how you say the visionary, and then you look on your roles as the visionary, writers and editors, voice actors, composer, audio engineer. You're everything. You are the number one man on this crew.
Well, that's more because I consider myself able to help in some way.
Well, you're the visionary. You need to
With this-
know, like you need to be having your finger in everything that everyone does because it's your project. You're the main.
Yeah, the
Brain.
director needs to be in people's faces thinking, are you doing this right?
Yeah.
That's basically what directors kind of do, as I learned through the great YouTuber CDog VA.
I love Sea Dog.
He's just like, you need to be up in people's faces saying, are you doing this properly?
You still there? Or did you like mic just crap
Yeah,
out?
yeah.
Okay.
I just went really close to the microphone and spoke like this.
Welcome to the Kuni No Senso ASMR, and today we're gonna be doing some.
And today, welcome to my ASMR. I am Kunchumu, and today we are going to be killing Yukon's family.
Oh dang! Spoiler.
That's literally the first episode, though. kind of gave that away in a way. So it's not really a spoiler when it's one of the main plot elements for the main series.
It really is.
That's one thing that's able to be spoiled without any reconciliation.
Again, I doubt anyone's
It's
actually gonna
essentially a plot
watch
point.
this, so like, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah,
But-
I don't even know I'm doing this. I honestly don't.
It's just to where we can actually talk about this.
Yeah,
'cause it's
I was
amazing.
I'm very interested. Like, I honestly wanted to know what inspired you to go, and what I really want to know is what inspired you, how you got it set up, why you're doing it the way you are, and what you see it in the future and what you want it to become in the future.
Well, my main thing is I originally planned it out. It just came to me one day. I was thinking, okay, let's make a series that's like this. This might end up being my grand work one day. Now, I still kind of think of it as my grand work, but I don't really think that my main attitude to it back then was this is going to be my magnum opus. But today, I do kind of have that attitude toward it.
I mean, you should have a little bit of magnum opus. I mean, look at how far it's come already. We've come from one person's idea to a bunch of people coming together to make something that it was never even their idea. They came to contribute their own personal time to help make this become a thing.
Yeah, that's what really makes a series a series. And one major thing that I probably should emphasize here is that it began to whittle down more and more. It eventually got to the current state of 10 episodes and maybe some OVAs.
I've noticed that. I remember that it started out like, okay, we want it to be about one season, at least one season long. It's going to be probably about 20 episodes. Okay, it's going to be about 15 episodes, and now we're down to 10. And the more I think about it, I'm
What
like,
do you mean? I don't think you've actually
I thought
seen that part. Because the
Didn't
main
you-
part that
didn't you like originally plan for it to be like 20 episodes?
I originally planned for like 5 seasons.
No,
Maybe
no.
those
I
5
thought
seasons of 20 episodes.
I
That was
thought-
the earliest possible.
no, I
plan.
thought recently like you like wanted it to be like 20 episodes or so.
20 episodes if there is a season 2, but I'm highly doubtful that this really needs a season 2.
Oh, see, I thought you wanted like 20 smaller episodes, and then I kind of dwindled down to like the 10 main episodes that we have now. My bad.
But okay, so I guess the final thing that I should put is that at one point I decided, you know what? I'm pretty terrible with pacing. Because I thought I was still going to end up being the person writing all the dialogue. Why not change it from 10 episodes in a single season to a 3-hour-long movie? But then I realized, but for the most part, most people thought, no, a 10-episode series is better. And I guess it does kind of make sense. It does seem more... It makes it a bit friendlier to the viewers.
Yeah, it makes it I guess digestible, easier to digest.
Yeah.
Because it
Most
is
people
hard
hear
to
3-hour-long movie and think, oh
yeah.
no,
This
I'm
ain't
gonna be stuck here for 3 whole hours.
this ain't no Lord of the Rings, bud.
Yeah, because Lord of the Rings is 3-hour-long movies.
Yeah, and then you can also do 3 1-hour-long movies, but then again, you're still in that 1-hour-long bracket of holy crap, it's an hour long. And because we also have to keep in the mindset that it is indie, and a lot of people don't care about indie stuff. So that's going to put us at a...
is dividing it that small is very, very awkward. Because dividing it into 3-hour-long movies would mean that since every episode would probably last somewhere along the lines of 20-ish minutes, that would mean that 3 hours would be 9 episodes. So dividing it evenly, I don't think there's really a way to divide it.
That would be
'Cause, I mean,
weird.
the first movie could end with episode 3, and then the second movie could end with episode 6, or maybe episode 2 if we want to be like that. Because I mean, but then ending the second movie with episode 7 would kind of make it a bit too similar to The Empire Strikes Back, because there's a very similar plot twist, actually. I'm not going to say it, but
Yeah.
there is a very similar plot twist.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely be very weird to chop up. It wouldn't be bad, but I definitely think the series would be best for sure.
Yeah, it'd probably be best served
It'd
in
also be easier
an
on
hour.
us. That way we don't have to like once we put the first episode up, then we're gonna start running on a time constraint.
Yeah.
So are we gonna have like the first two or three done before we start releasing? That way we have a buffer period.
Probably.
Okay, cool.
We might actually go as far as like 5 episodes completed before we start gradually releasing them.
See, I think that's like the smart way to go because I've done a lot of like, if I've learned from what I've done so far is that if you don't have something canned and you decide to start releasing stuff, you're gonna fall behind, you're gonna fall on your face, and it's gonna be bad.
The thing is, I'm thinking after 5 episodes are completed, I'll start releasing them one a month.
Ooh.
That way, we can have a lot of time to work on it because we'll be in the production of episode 6, and we'd have 5 months to complete that episode.
I'm trying to think if you should do a month or every other week, like every 2 weeks, like half a month. Because the problem if you do a month, if is it will people stay engaged?
Well, it really depends because there are a lot of cliffhangers in this. The most noteworthy cliffhangers in the series would be, well, episode 1 is kind of a cliffhanger. Episode 2, a very, very small one, but still kind of there. Episode 3, still a bit of a cliffhanger.
Every episode has a bit of a cliffhanger.
Episode 4 is the most resolved of the episodes yet, but episode 5, you're just jammed right in with another cliffhanger. And this is a really strong cliffhanger, the strongest one in the series as of yet. Episode 6 ends, there's a bit of resolution. Episode 7, whack cliffhanger, as in really, really strong. It literally ends on a plot twist.
My favorite. See, those make me so mad but so happy at the same time because it makes you engaged and you're like, crap, now I have to watch this. Well, skipping work today.
Yeah, another thing is, you want to know how to really make an audience mad?
Slap another cliffhanger on there with another plot twist?
No. End a series on a plot twist. Or end the series on a cliffhanger.
If you end the series on a cliffhanger, the whole world's gonna hate you. Just saying. But if you do it well enough, it'll be worth. Like the most notable cliffhanger that I think anyone can relate to is Inception. Have you seen Inception?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't really like explain it because at the very end they leave you off with one of the biggest cliffhangers I think, and that anyone can really remember when they think of a cliffhanger at the end of a movie. And it's done so well. Gosh dang it! I wish you would have seen it. But if you ever watch it, you'd see what you would know what I'm saying. But so we're ending on a cliffhanger, or are we hanging on a plot twist?
Yeah, because the thing is, there are many movies out there that kind of have a cliffhanger to them, but are technically conclusive endings. Because Infinity War, that could be interpreted as a cliffhanger, but that's more like the end of part 1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Of 2. But people still could interpret it as a cliffhanger.
See, I wasn't a big fan of that movie. Just side note, I'm not a big fan of the recent superhero movies, DC and Marvel. So,
have you seen them?
Yeah, I have.
All right, then that's your opinion. And you have a valid excuse for the opinion because you have actually seen those movies. But
wow, I'm surprised. Usually people are like, why don't you like them? I'm just like, because they suck.
Thinking that, but
I'm
saying
I don't know.
You have your opinion.
I think just plot wise, I don't know. They're okay, but like I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I don't even like the last three movies that came out. the Force Awakens to the Rise of Skywalker, it just destroyed Star Wars, and it really makes me mad.
Yeah, that was a bit of a really strange period, I guess. Not a lot of people really like this. I mean, I thought the Force Awakens
Force
was
Awakens
alright.
wasn't horrible, but then you get to The Last Jedi,
Except for the fact that it seemed something along the lines of,
New Hope.
okay, this character is surely dead. No, these characters are alive. And I'm how?
But The Force Awakens is a pretty big copy of New Hope. But what really makes me mad is that they switched directors from Force Awakens to the Last Jedi, and so all the character development J.J. Abrams was making got destroyed again. But then it all just got destroyed in the Rise of Skywalker anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
So, but one thing that you have to admit, though, the Russos, they kind of have a very competent idea of what they're doing when it comes to their writing with the MCU.
Yeah, they're not bad. No, it's pretty good writing. It's just not my favorite. Like, I don't know. It's just I can't.
It's very hard to top the Star Wars trilogy, or like the original one.
That's true.
That's mainly because George Lucas knew what he was doing. He had a lore just built out from the inside out.
Well, see,
and what's really interesting is that a lot of people say, like, there's a sort of character type called the Mary Sue, but a lot of people say that Rey is a Mary Sue, and I'm not 100% sure because it's been a while since I've seen it. But the main thing is a character is not a Mary Sue unless it warps the world around them and they become the center of attention.
So describe what a Mary Sue is.
A Mary Sue is a character that puts itself in a world, and then that character becomes the center of attention in that world. That character becomes the most important person in that world, and no other people.
I can see where people would say Rey. She's kind of a Mary Sue. She's not. I'd say she's at least half a Mary Sue, but not like a full. If that's even possible, because she seems to like be put in the spotlight and just kind of the main focus, but she's not the main focus. There's other things going on around her.
So the thing is, one thing that ended up being a bit of a big deal was that some people mistakenly say that any self-insert character is a Mary Sue, but Luke Skywalker is technically a self-insert character.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Because Luke Skywalker was based off of George Lucas himself. Anytime Mark Hamill would deliver a line during the scene, he would think, how would George Lucas do it? And he would do it like that, and George Lucas would say it was perfect.
Dude, Mark Hamill is such an amazing actor and voice actor. Just throwing that out there. His Joker, to me, is the best Joker.
Mark Hamill appreciation time.
Woo! He needs more appreciation, honestly. I don't know. And they destroyed Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. He's not supposed to be that way. He's not going to be sitting there drinking green blue milk.
Yeah, the green alien titty juice.
Oh, it's so gross. But
yeah, but okay, the point of the matter is Mark Hamill knew what he was doing, but the reason why Luke Skywalker isn't a Mary Sue is because he isn't the center of attention. He just happens to be that guy. He just happens to be a guy who happens to contribute a bit more.
Yeah.
He's not the center of attention. He's not the true absolute focal point of the Star Wars trilogy.
It's the story, it's the plot that you focus on.
Yeah. Because Luke would probably be dead if Han didn't come in and save his butt in episode 4.
He would be. He had him locked down. He was dead to rights. He was gonna die.
Yeah.
And then Han Solo comes back magically, and everyone's like, "Holy crap! Did that just happen?"
Not really magically. More just we didn't see him in camera, and then he is in camera.
Don't you dare say that. It was magic. You take that back.
I wasn't saying that the effect wasn't magic.
No, it's all magical.
The appearance.
Nope. It's 100% magical.
Magic. He just teleported. Guys. Ah!
Yeah, it's exactly what happened.
I'm in the middle of a podcast, Kirsten. Shoot yourself. That was my sister.
Oof.
Because those exist.
I have brothers.
Kitty.
Wallpaper.
Oh. No, see, in my...
Be gone!
I dare you.
Be gone!
Say it.
I'm not gonna say the full thing.
That's what I thought.
We have a censorship here. There are certain words I can't say. Doesn't matter. Anyway, where were we?
Well, okay, we're talking about Han Solo magically teleporting in and shooting Darth Vader.
Yes. Scotty beamed him up.
Exactly. Yeah, Star Trek
End of
came
argument.
There we go.
and
Yeah,
Star
it's
Wars
exactly
are
what
the same
happened. That's what they don't realize. That's why J.J. Abrams is the director now, because of that one scene right there.
Yes, absolutely.
It was planned from the beginning. Gosh dang it, they got us good. That plot twist.
We should have seen it, but whatever.
We
anyway,
didn't. We were blinded. See, in my opinion, I think once Disney took over, Star Wars and Marvel to me just kind of flopped.
Well, Star Wars is commercially successful, just not quality.
Yes. Oh, yes, because it's the Star Wars brand. But now,
but the MCU though, the MCU, in my opinion, is well structured.
I like their older stuff better. I'm not saying it's horrible. It's watchable for me, anyways. It's not the worst, but it's not like it's not my favorite. It's not like my preferred genre. But I do enjoy the older stuff. Like I like the first and second Iron Man. I like the stuff like during that time period. Like the first Captain America, even second Captain America wasn't bad. Even Civil War was all right. But then after that, it just starts kind of like faltering off more and more, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you can't always be perfect.
No. And again, this is just my opinion. It's all opinions.
Unless you're Stan Lee making a cameo.
Oh. No.
That's genuine perfection.
Oh, there's nothing that can beat that. It's Stan Lee.
He's literally the king of cameos.
He is.
In a way.
Actually, I think he has a world record. He has a Guinness World Record for it too.
Nice.
So it's pretty legit.
You want to know the weirdest thing that I've ever seen?
What? Wait,
Stan Lee made a cameo in a DC movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What movie?
Oh gosh, you don't want to know.
Is it like one of their bad movies? Like one of the worst?
It's the Teen Titans Go movie.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
That's amazing.
His entire appearance was just a joke about how he enjoys cameos. And I mean,
that's great.
It was kind of. I hate to admit it. It was actually kind of funny when I first saw it.
Well, just because it's a cartoon doesn't mean it's bad. I love Phineas and Ferb.
I'm just saying that Teen Titans Go is usually seen as a pretty bad series.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people enjoy Teen Titans Go and Teen Titans. Teen
Titans the original, that one was good. But Teen Titans Go, that
Huh. See, I never watched Teen Titans, any of them, so I can't really give an opinion on that. So, yeah.
Okay, but one thing that I do need to note, though, with Kuni No Senso is that the intention of the series, or what I hope becomes of the series, is that it kind of becomes that work that, while not a lot of people say that they are a huge fan of it, or that they are part of the fan base, or that I am the greatest leader in the generation, all fans of Kuni No Senso, or yada yada yada, that kind of stuff. I wanted the series to be more like one of those works that people appreciate for the craftsmanship, like a show that people talk about when they usually use it as a reference for good writing, or like good musical composition, or good voice acting.
Yeah, I like that. I like the view that you're going with this.
Like an example of quality over quantity.
Yeah, I like where you're going with that. I like that. I like that you're not gonna. I like that you're going again, quality over quantity. I like that. You're also going for a good quality fan base. You're not going for quantity. You see, I also saw this as like, for me, I see this as for whoever's a part of it, and if this is good, by what's like so far, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a pretty good indie production. I'm going to see it as a jumping off platform for people's careers in their specific area if they want to pursue them.
Yeah,
like, because either people can watch this and be like, oh, I need to get the guy for this voice actor, this composer, and then or they could be applying for something. Hey, check out this. I've done the whole script writing for this, Kate.
I mean, pretty much.
I mean, honestly, she's done 1 through 6. Probably gonna do 7 through 8 tomorrow.
She's not done with 6 yet.
Oh,
She's
will
still
be.
working on it.
You know, she'll be done pretty soon.
But the thing is, she hasn't made much progress since yesterday, but she does probably need to take a break for a little bit.
Probably.
I do understand that she might need to take a break because she's just pounded through the entire series at this point.
Yeah, but it could also be a break for her from her life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this,
Yeah.
like for me, that's what voice acting is. Voice acting is a break for me. Like doing podcasts, it's a break for me. It's something that I can do that I enjoy. That's why I do this podcast. No one listens to it, but I do it because it's fun. I do it because I want to.
That's valid.
Like,
But the thing is, when I usually look at what we've made so far with Kuni No Senso, I just think, this is what my brain helped create. I am proud of my somewhat subpar script. No, actually, my script outlines are somehow really good.
you should be proud of the whole
It's just-
thing. Like, if you just have you personally stepped back and looked at everything that's here, everything that you have, and everything that has been brought together from your one idea that came about you 4 years ago. 4 years ago, you would have never thought that it would come to this point where you're doing a podcast about it.
I mean, I probably, since I was thinking that it would go on for 5
Well,
seasons,
yeah, I
probably
mean-
thought that it would do
I mean,
something,
yeah, but like as
but
it's
nowadays I've realized that a series running along does not mean that it's particularly good or able to be watched the entire time. Because look at One Piece. While it might be a good anime,
well, no one
it's
like no
going
one.
to be something to where you have to decide what episodes are really important to the plot.
Yeah, and so I've heard like I don't even want to start One Piece because it's still going on and it's way too many episodes.
Thousands, I think.
It's ridiculous. And then Naruto, I'm just watching that as a side thing because it's still going on. Is Naruto still going on?
Naruto. The original
Well,
Naruto series did.
Yeah, the
and
main
Shippuden
the main ended. Same with Dragon Ball. They're making tons of Dragon Balls, but the main story of Dragon Ball has ended.
And Shippuden is also over. And Boruto, I don't know about that, but a lot of people consider that to be absolute trash.
I haven't heard of Boruto.
It's like a continuation of Naruto, except it's about Naruto's kid.
Oh, you gotta love those.
Yes, you do. They're
Every
always great.
anime freaking ever.
There's totally never been one of those. But somehow Dragon Ball's been keeping the same protagonist, and they haven't moved on to Gohan yet. They kind of did tease it at the end of the Cell Saga, but
I thought Dragon Ball Z was
let's
all
be
about
honest.
Gohan.
it didn't happen. I mean, it could be all about Gohan, but it's still about Goku.
I still need to watch Dragon Ball Z. I watched the first episodes or so, but I keep jumping from anime depending on how I feel. Right now I'm on Kino's Journey. It's only 12 episodes long, but it's good. Okay, so one anime, because I used to get mad when animes don't have a second season because they always end you at the worst way. But Kino's Journey is only 12 episodes long, but it's almost like a Twilight series, Twilight Zone kind of vibe, in the sense that each episode is a whole different story among itself with a whole different meaning and a whole different purpose. And
Like
it's
an anthology series?
yeah, it's really cool. I mean,
'Cause that's what-
obviously, it has. Continue.
That's what the Friday the 13th series originally was, until they realized, yeah, we ended the first movie on a cliffhanger. We're probably going to need to make the next movie about Jason Voorhees, and that's where he was actually the killer. In the first movie, he wasn't the killer.
I haven't seen any of the Friday 13th or anything like that.
Yeah, but it was originally an anthology series.
Huh.
An anthology series, those are the really interesting series that you can actually just watch any episode of and be totally fine with it. You
Yeah.
don't need to tune in from the very first episode of the first season and then continue watching in that order.
Now,
You can actually, it's like it was made to be able to be aired on television with the episodes in a different order,
yeah,
because there's no real strict story. outside of each individual episode.
And see, Kino's journey. Okay, so Kino's journey is like that, but they have each episode has something that goes into the next one, but it's so minuscule that it doesn't matter because each one focuses on the main point of that episode. It's just, but what I'm pointing to is that it's a good representation of quality 1 season long anime that could be comparable to what you're looking for in Kuni No Senso. And plus, it's just a good anime in general. So if you haven't watched it, go watch Kino's journey. It's a good journey. All right. It's a good 12 episode long journey. And I'm nearing the end and it's making me sad.
All right. So I have a bit of a question for you.
Yeah, sure. Shoot.
What themes do you think I was thinking of when I made Kuni No Senso?
Define theme.
Like plot elements.
Like what I thought from like the title, or like what I thought from reading the first initial plot outline, or like
what kind of ideas or lessons do you think I'm trying to tackle with, if you will?
Lesson wise,
other than don't be a dick. Another timestamp.
Hold on, let me get that timestamp on here. Gosh, freaking dang it! I'm just kidding. All right, I'm just gonna put 1:37. And that's gonna make it easier. I'll just listen to the whole minute or so. Okay. Side note: podcasts are crazy because within 1 minute, it feels like you're listening to like 10 minutes, depending on like sometimes because it's so much information in a short period of time. Anyways, so what kind of theme are you looking for in Kuni No Senso? Okay, my brain has processed the question, and now I'm actually thinking about it. Ooh. That's a tough one because I've read this plot outline, but I've read it a while ago, and my brain's filled with so much stuff right now. Especially school, freaking physics, behind in physics. I hate physics. But it's necessary if you want to shoot stuff into space. Apparently. Themes. Probably, definitely. I see a lot with like friendship or like love or like some sort of like relationship bond. I feel like it would be a theme because his relationship with his parents is a drive for him, and especially the one with
Ite,
yeah, and then Kadaina, who comes in later. They're kind of become a tight knit group almost immediately. They're inseparable and feed off each other. But the swords are main. Does the theme have to do something with the swords?
Actually, let me drop something on you. When I originally wrote the series, I wasn't thinking of themes. I just wrote the series thinking it could be something fun. People might watch it.
I don't think
find entertainment from it.
I don't think a movie necessarily needs a theme. It doesn't need a theme. Like,
But like nowadays, when I look at the story and think, what are the themes of this? I usually think something along the lines of one of the themes might be revenge or coping with death.
Mm-hmm. We
or
get
like
both
you said,
of those.
friendship/love. And since you mentioned something about the swords, I thought maybe balance could be it, because there's sort of a
Get out.
starts thirsting for too much.
Why, Discord? Why must you be this way? Do I cut out for you as well? Am I cutting out for you? Like,
other than there.
I need to fix this. This is annoying.
Yeah, you're fine.
So I'm not cutting out for you at all? See, you're cutting out for me. Yeah. All my guests always cut out for some reason. I don't know why. Like, they cut in and out.
Fine.
So I hear like pieces of what you say, and then it just silence because it won't take you in. Like, it won't bring you into the voice chat.
Or
at least these are easy to edit out though, because there's long periods of pause, so I can be like, okay, just take that and delete all that. So
yeah, that would probably make sense.
You're back. Good. Awesome. I can hear you again.
Yay! But the thing is, yeah, there are tons of themes that could be important to Kuni no Senso that I didn't interpret as originally being themes I was looking at. I just looked at the series, looked at the story, and thought this could be something people entertained by.
Gosh dang it,
Could be-
Discord.
It becomes something for bonus. I just made it because it sounded cool. That was essentially the entire story of. It's nothing really special. There's no ulterior motive. Like, this was made for insert dead family member here. I'm just making it because it's fun. That's it.
I'm gonna summarize exactly what I heard, and this is what I heard.
Nothing.
Nothing. Pieces of speech. I made this because no, I started out with. I originally made it without a theme. Themes appear nowhere. People can think of whatever they want. Yeah, so that I didn't really make it without. It's like,
Yeah.
freaking screw you, Discord.
Okay, so but the thing is, I did make it without a theme, thinking people might actually appreciate the work just as something that derive entertainment from, something to be able to be watched without trying to search for something else. It's just easy entertainment, I thought. But now we're creating this insane work, which is very, very built on various different aspects. But one thing that I really do like about the series is its attention to detail. Because there are certain things that it catches you, and then you just forget about it until it becomes a big deal.
I love
Like, there are
things.
certain
I love little things that become big things later on in like a series or a movie because it's those things that you don't suspect and it comes out of nowhere and it's right in your face. You're like, oh crap! I saw that
but
coming.
that's not entirely what it's based on. The majority of Kuni no Senso's, as I've realized, is based on, as I stated earlier, in this tension. And as you can tell, there's a whole lot of tension used in this series because there are many really intense scenes. Like, most scenes where Yukon and Kunshu are working together, there is a very, very strong amount of tension, especially in episode 6, where there's a scene where Yukon really can't do anything to Kunshu, but Kunshu is literally right in front of him. That scene is one of those really intense scenes because it's going to be something to where eventually the tension is just so dang palpable. Like, and the script, I know it's effective because when I'm making sure that I'm checking for any grammar error, spelling errors in the script as Kate writes it, I tend to realize, my gosh, this is actually really intense. I'm usually sitting there looking at the script, anticipating what's going to happen next, even though I know what's going to happen next because I wrote the thing.
But it's funny though because you didn't technically write. Okay, so you wrote the outline, but then you have Kate's like how she's putting it together, which she's doing a great job. I mean, when I'm going back through and scene editing, I'm like, okay, dang. So this is how this is feeling. How is it gonna feel next? Like, I didn't expect Kadaina to get drunk in episode 5.
Yeah.
Like,
And that ends up, and like, you think this is just some sort of comedic relief, but no, it's important to what happens.
and she explains that, and I'm just like, holy crap, that makes sense.
And yeah, and it does leave comedic relief. And I didn't originally think of it as a series that would work well with comedic relief because, it's supposed to be this grim, dark series where most decisions lead to something horrible. But they managed to make comedic relief into a horrible decision.
Oh man,
Not the idea of comedic relief being a horrible decision. No, it's that particular example of comedic relief being a deal to where your decision is essentially going to be a downfall in a way.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how, as we as humans like write or we create things, we subconsciously make things happen the way they do, and it comes out with a sense of meaning and feeling that we never saw there originally. like how you thought of this would be fun, and all of a sudden you look back and you're like, holy crap, there's a theme here that could be, there's a theme here that could be something, there's a theme here that could be something. We made Kadaina drunk, and all of a sudden it has a lot of meaning behind why he's drunk, and yeah, there might be a little bit of
Despite being 14 years old.
yeah, and that's my biggest thing. Is like, wait, he's getting drunk at 14, but also if you put it
but
back,
they do bring up the fact that he's underage, and it is kind of his fault that he decided to drink. But in the meantime, you're just like, isn't he 14? And he's so hammered he can barely speak straight.
I'm so excited to read episode 5. I really am. I need to get through.
Wait, let me just improvise or just quickly do a cold read of one of Kadaina's drunken stupor lines. Hold on. There it is. Where are you going, you call 0 is your mom's name 1 and your dad's name 2? It's like that. it's amazing.
Oh
like
man,
drunk Kadaina, dare I say, is a better written character than regular Kadaina.
man, that sounds like that would be a fun. Kadaina and Kunshu, the two people I
Country.
did what?
Country? That's a character?
Kadaina and Kunshu.
Kunshu. Okay. Yeah.
Those are the two people I auditioned for, but they also seem like some of the most fun to play, honestly, because Kunshu,
Kunshu, I literally
Kunshu.
put in the description of the casting call.
I'm
this
very-
voice should ooze of
sorry.
charisma.
okay, yeah. Kunshu, he seems like such a fun character to play, and so does Kadaina because of this, just the way he's written. How do you, is it Ida?
Ite?
I'm sorry. I'm still learning pronunciations. I'm a noob.
Because we
Ite,
still pronounce it as Kunai no Senso, even though Kunai would be like the weapon Kunai, but
Kuni, so it's Kuni.
Kuni no
Okay,
Senso.
Kuni no Senso. I'm taking Japanese. Okay, I'm gonna learn how to pronounce it here this semester.
But not gonna lie, most of it is Americanized Japanese, as
That's
in
true.
person who just Google translated it
But
Japanese, as I
Ite
did with a lot of these.
is gonna be a very sassy character, which would be a lot of fun too. Very emotional. Yukon is very loud and outgoing. He seems like a lot. I heard one audition. He did a really good job, but there's a lot of feeling that you'd have to put into it. So he seems like every single character has a lot of development in it. That seems like it would be such a fun character to play or to act as.
Because the way I wrote it was that for most of the characters, like the main characters, the four integral characters, well, mostly the three main protagonists, I had it to where they all had 4 positives and 2 negatives for the characters.
See, I like that you put negatives. A lot of people don't realize that negatives are a big important thing. Like, so I make board games and stuff, and am making this RPG on where it's not just like your basic D&D. It's based on where you'd make your character with a positive, and that positive has a negative to it. And a lot of people don't realize is that builds a lot of a story, because those positives and those will help you get through what you're dealing with, but then those negatives will come back and haunt you as realistically. Like,
because I wrote down that Yukon is a great leader who is compassionate, determined, and very clever. However, he is incredibly stubborn and has an intense fear of failure. And the thing is that fear of failure is something that it takes him a while to actually get a hold of. He isn't able to go through with some things because there's a chance that it might not work. And the only time that the fear of failure is overruled is when it's with his stubbornness. So when his stubbornness is, I guess, kind of evolved out of, that leaves his fear of failure. And that fear of failure is very crippling in a way.
You see that a lot with episode 4. Yeah, it's episode 4 when they're in the first battle.
Yeah, because the thing is, the fear of failure is what makes Yukon. He is one of those characters that, while it might be something to where he could be able to do it, it's usually something to where the odds have to be in his favor for him to be able to do it. And near the end of episode 10, he doesn't manage to win until he manages to get out of that stupor, his fear of failure.
Hey, look at this. It's another theme.
Human evolution, or like adapting, I guess, would be the proper
Or
term.
just overcoming your problems.
Yeah.
Realizing
be
your
one.
realizing your problems and facing them. But see, we can also, you can throw themes onto anything, honestly.
And the thing is, I didn't really write Ite as an intentionally sassy character. I guess it could be interpreted as one. She
Well,
was more written as a character that's
she's
like
strong. Strong-willed.
She's an incredibly powerful character.
Yes.
She's quite possibly, other than Yukon, the strongest character of the protagonists in the series. This includes like minor protagonists such as Yokina and Zenpan.
Mm-hmm.
And even Kashikoi, in a way.
She's like the Princess Leia of this series.
I guess. But the main thing is, I guess the best way to put it would be that I put down that she was a very compassionate, clever, determined, and fast learner. But she is obsessive and often paranoid about the well-being of Yukon because, I mean, she's a yandere. That's one of the main ways I was able to get most of her characterization. Take an existing trope and think, what are some things that are common with this trope, and how can I use that to my advantage? And so that yandere also allows me to make some pretty brutal scenes. Because when you look through episode 6...
There's some brutal stuff.
Because, yeah, episode 6 is probably the biggest display of just how brutal the series can get.
See, episode 4 is pretty brutal, but I haven't read episode 6 yet, but I know it gets worse.
Episode 6 is just, goddamn. Let me just describe to you what happens in this scene.
Let me write down another timestamp. Give me a second.
That's a bad word, too.
I don't know. You never know.
All right, so there's an entire scene, which is technically part of scene 2, but is technically scene 3, called The Wrath of Ite. This is gonna be good, boys. So the thing is, let me tell you about the deaths that occur in this scene. I'll just read the 3 most noteworthy deaths. So, in one death, Ite shoots a single arrow and it kills 3 men. 1 arrow kills 3 men, guys. That's something.
Tasty.
So then the next one, she slings her bow over her back and just snaps a man's neck clean.
Crunchy.
And I think this is going to be the most infamous one, ladies and gentlemen. A random enemy tries to stab Ite by running up to her from behind, but she grabs an arrow and stabs him through the goddamn mouth, which is the most violent of her on-screen kills.
Juicy.
So yeah, it is very juicy. Like, when I thought of that, I was thinking, I probably could not tolerate that as a human being, but whatever.
See, even in episode 4, well, even in episode 1, it's brutal.
Yeah, the
way
vibe I'm trying to put up is nothing is too far for this series. It might get rated R, despite the fact that I am not 18 years of age.
The director isn't even of age. He can't watch his own thing.
I can't watch my own video because they age restricted it.
Could you imagine, as you're working on it, like, oh, I'm sorry, kid, you can't direct this anymore. It's rated R. You're gonna have to stand over here.
That's a major F in the chat. But yeah, the point of the matter is, it's supposed to be a very, very series. It's supposed to have lots and lots of tension. The thing is, the tension for... But another thing is, most of this series is just extremely tense.
Do you want me to make you really mad here in a second?
What?
I didn't get any of the last, couple seconds you said.
Yeah, the thing is, the series is entirely based
on tension.
It's supposed to be...
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is one of those episodic series where the entire point is we're trying to make this as difficult to watch, or not really difficult to watch. We're trying to make this as, I guess, bleak as possible. We're trying to make a series that is the definition of probably one of the darkest series out there.
Man, you really are in your emo phase, aren't you?
I guess so. But the main thing is, when I'm writing this, I usually think I'm going to be making this for a mature audience who wants to see these really dramatic, bold works, these complete works in a way.
Yeah.
So when I write, when I write a series like this, I usually think I've got to make this something unique. I've got to have something that makes the series stand out. And one thing that I found made that stand out really well is tension. So I use, throughout the entire series, all sorts of different ways to keep tension. And as you'll note, there are some pretty creative ways, because in episode 9, just before the final battle starts to pick up, or as it just begins to build up to that final battle, there's 7 seconds before it truly begins. And 7, as many people will note, is a number of completion, meaning, yeah, we're getting to the end of the series.
Oh, that's clever. I like what you did
And
there.
it also allows tension to be built very, very well.
And is that 7 seconds of complete silence except for ambient, like, background wind?
Possibly. That would be really, really tense. But the thing, ever since I actually saw that video that the whole how to choreograph sword fight, I began to realize just how much tension plays into an experience, and taking it to its most dramatic way could create a really interesting result.
Yeah. And
So
see,
I tend to find ways to keep tension in extremely interesting ways. Like episode 6, like I said, there's an entire scene where we just get the most intense scene of not fighting. Like, there are ways to write scenes to where it just doesn't sit right, I guess.
kind of weird to think about. Like, you're purposely writing something to make it feel weird and awkward. But if you, it's
I'm
interesting.
trying to make something to keep the audience on.
It's interesting because the things that attract the most audience, or that flourishes the most, is the things of uniqueness, or being different, or being strange, being weird, or being unpredictable. And that's what Kuni No Senso is doing a lot with the tension. Is it's very unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen next. We have characters that die off left and right suddenly. We have,
Not really left and right, but
shh, I'm making people want to watch it, okay? I'm promoting.
okay.
Gosh.
Yeah, but there is a pretty strange placement of a character death that does kind of catch you out of nowhere.
But Kuni no Senso is very different. It is very it's different but not at the same time. But that's what's gonna make it be what it is. So
it's a series that isn't too far away from what you're used to, but it's pretty distant. It's kind of, I guess, the uncanny valley of shows, if I have to put it some way. It's
you're cutting out again. Right at the good part too.
Atmosphere. And is that it is incredibly short for a series, because most shows go on for a decently lengthy amount of time. Like most anime usually have like 12 or 13 episodes to a season. This is actually short for that.
Yeah.
And what's even crazier is that I'm trying to convey the entire story in 10 episodes, and it's doing kind of well. But there's a lot of things that are really interesting details that could probably be explained really, really well in an OVA. Like there's sort of a plot point where there's actually an explanation for how Yukon and Ite fell for each other. A very minuscule detail that becomes essentially what built that part. And it won't be an exact statement in the series, but it will probably come up in an OVA.
I think the OVAs are going to be pretty fun because we're going to get the whole series done first, and then we can build the whole lore, and we can build off of it and branch off and see where it takes us.
Yeah, because one major thing, the thing is, the OVA that I'm planning on doing, if we're doing one, is there's definitely going to probably be one for the character of Kunshu Mujihina.
That would be a fun one.
It kind of tricks people into thinking, oh, we're going to get this philosophical look at the character. We're going to see the character as, like, maybe we're going to get them as this kind of misunderstood anti-hero. No, you don't get that. You just get a bit more lore to where you can kind of understand things and maybe even formulate a theory that will sound absurd at first, but suddenly makes sense.
The madness in your mind. It's going to
and that's
pee people off.
Another thing is, we have an end to the series, like a post-credit scene that won't be explained, but if people keep pressuring us for an episode 2, then the explanation is going to be pretty dang clear. Like a season 2, rather.
If it's the ending I'm thinking of, it's going to be a good ending. That good left-off ending that gives you a conclusion, but not at the same time.
Like, it's going to be a very firm ending to the series, but that post-credit scene will kind of probably initiate some sort of spark for a season 2. And if people continually pressure me for it, I'm going to make one.
Well,
people are going to hate it. People are going to hate the season 2.
I feel like if we're going to do season 2 anyways, we'd have to set up some sort of Patreon or something to pay for the time and the effort, because it is a lot of time and it is a lot of effort to do this.
Yeah, but the thing is, the season 2 is going to be one of those
one of the most hated things ever made.
It's not going to be garbage. It's just going to be something to where I'm going to make it impossible to continue after that.
So like Rogue One. Everyone dies.
Everyone... Really?
Have you not seen Rogue One?
No, I haven't. I think that's one of the few Star Wars movies
I will say, Rogue One is actually one of my favorite Star Wars movies, and this is coming from a huge Star Wars true fan.
The ending of Rogue One was the start of Episode 4, wasn't it?
Yes. Well,
so
yes.
I mean, the everyone dies ending works there.
Exactly.
It's the start of the next movie.
I'm so glad you understand that. Because
it's kind of like what happens at the end of Episode 6 for the series. I'm talking about Kuni No Senso here. Because it kind of does... There are lots of plot twists that are kind of direct segues into the next episode, I guess. To where it kind of has a cliffhanger, but it picks up directly from that cliffhanger, in a way.
Yeah. See, it's
a bit of a weird writing style, but I like it.
Like I said, weird is what brings in... to me, I find the weirdest things are the ones that flourish the most or get the most out of itself. So the biggest thing that people need to take away from Kuni No Senso is that it's going to be great. It's quality over quantity, and it's going to be a very tense ride, but it's definitely worth a watch. And so...
Script writing.
You cut out. What was that? Discord, why do you do this to me? Hello.
It's basically... It's going to be one of those series you don't know what you're walking into, especially not at first glance. As soon as you actually realize what kind of series, though, it is, you begin to think, what am I watching now? This is a dramatic shift in tone. And I'd say that this is probably one of the most dramatic shifts in tone that I've come across. Now, there are some series that do have quite dramatic shifts in tone, but this is especially one of the cases because I kind of wrote it as being a shift in tone in a way.
Yeah. I'm super excited for this to be done. To see the final project. Yeah, I mean, there's so much work and effort being into it. Looks amazing. It's gonna be amazing. I know you're probably super excited for the ending because I know I am. But
because the thing is, the writing is going to just so insane. I was reading the script, and I felt tension. I felt like I was wanting to know what happened next as she typed it out.
Yeah,
I knew what was going to happen next, but I didn't at the same time because it's like reading a synopsis story and then actually reading the synopsis of a movie and then watching the movie. That's essentially what that experience is like.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So,
because when I read the script, as being the person who wrote the outline, it's kind of like Hitchcockian suspense. If you like being told that a bomb will go off in 10 minutes, you're sitting there in those 10 minutes watching the movie, thinking, "Oh God, it's going to happen. This bomb's going to go off in 10 minutes. How am I supposed to prepare myself for witnessing that?" It's suspense. That's kind of what I feel when I'm reading this script. Because the thing is, with spoilers, it kind of takes away the initial hit of it. Like, you don't get this major reveal of a plot twist, I guess. Like, the plot twist is kind of ruined for you or spoiled. But then it becomes something to where you're watching it and you begin to anticipate it. That's the sort of theory behind why spoilers don't really take away from the effect, but that's kind of what I was feeling when I was reading through the script as it was. It's one of those things that you just... It's not easy to explain.
I get what you're saying. But, yeah, I mean, I'm super stoked. We've been talking surprisingly for 2 hours and 10 minutes. And this is the first, surprisingly, the first time I've actually ever talked to you.
Yeah, actually, over anything, this is the first time we've communicated using our mouths. I mean, we've talked through Discord using the text chat, I guess, or the direct messages, and over the server as well. But it hasn't really been something to where we communicated by mouth with this stuff.
And I've had a very interesting and very fun conversation.
This was indeed very entertaining. Yes.
I've gained a lot of information. I've learned a lot of things about Kuni No Senso, and I've also learned that I need to research a lot more about Kuni No Senso.
Yeah, despite being an insider, you don't have a lot of information, but
hey,
there's only so much I can tell because
it's mostly just
somebody might come across this one day and be like, "Hey, we have the entire story synopsis already, and we haven't even episode 1 yet."
See, look at it this way: I don't know enough to give spoilers. That's all. That's why I don't read a whole lot. No, I'm just kidding. I really do need to.
That's why you're the best one to give the. That's why you're the best one to have this podcast.
Thank you.
Because I know you're not going to be really able to too much unless you decide to drop one here and there.
Oh, like you talking about in this episode when this guy died? I'm just kidding. So,
You said this guy, so
yeah.
I'm gonna let that one slide.
But I love this guy. He's a very important character. Oh crap! Oh no, I ruined it all. Anyway, what would happen if we named a guy this guy?
I'll let that slide because he did. Yeah.
So what I'm getting to is it's time to wrap this up. This podcast, anyways. We can talk a little bit afterwards, but this podcast is going 2 hours, 11 minutes, and Discord is starting to die on me. Like, I don't know if I'm picking you up. Thank you, Discord. Thank you for being Discord.
Senso, ladies and gentlemen.
You're cutting out again. I need you to repeat everything you just said.
insert YouTube break. Regardless, thank you for watching. And I don't think I'm the one authorized to say that.
You're gonna have to repeat like everything you just said because Discord has decided that at that one specific moment to cut out.
During that entire thing?
Yeah, I'm being serious. The entire thing.
The entire monologue?
The entire monologue that you were getting all heartfelt about.
Okay, my throat hurts because I've been talking so much. You got that? At least.
I do now.
But yeah, my throat has been hurting because I have been talking a lot. And this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legend. I'm just joking.
That's not.
He's not a sellout. He's not a sellout. But anyway.
But hey, Raid, if you're Will, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. Go away, Raid. I don't need your ad support. I don't need YouTube's monetization either. I only have 44 subscribers. Take that. You know what? I'm gonna leave this uncensored.
Back on track.
That's a lie. Okay, yeah. So we need to actually close this one out. So thank you for joining me and talking about Kuni No Senso. Are you freaking kidding me, Discord? Screw you, Discord. Screw you.
Bro, it cut out.
Yes, it's cutting out again.
I can't make an ending.
Okay, make one now.
Yeah.
Now, do it now.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for watching. This has been basically Kuni No Senso. We're done.
Bye.
There.
Bye. Go away. But make sure you subscribe and watch Kuni No Senso and check out the casting call if you're interested. Yeah.
It's a good series.
It is. Goodbye. Hey, you made it to the end. I'm proud of you. I know we said goodbye, but like this was made a while ago, so I kind of have to put an outro. But I just want to say again, thank you, Hayden, for joining me. And thank you for allowing me to join the Kuni No Senso project. It's been a blast. I've met some super cool people. It's been such a great experience, and I really hope we can just start hammering things out and just make it happen. You know, I'm really excited, and you've been doing a great job. So has everyone. Everyone's been doing a terrific job on Kuni No Senso. And I just want to say, great job, everyone, and I love you all. Have a good day. Good night. Good morning. Whenever you're listening to this, have a great rest of the time of your life. Just your whole life. Just great. Just great. That's it. Just great. Like wake up, just great. Go eat breakfast, great. Use the bath, great. It's a great bathroom experience. You know what I'm saying? you know what I'm saying? All right, I'm just gonna stop now.